We are not Sports Center. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Debate Amongst Friends. I am the Professor John Gotti. My co-host over here is Doc Leesner, the podcasting beast, and we're ready to provide you with another fun edition of sports news, analysis, and the reads. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning back in. You didn't have to listen to us, but we appreciate you coming back to listen to Debate Amongst Friends. Doc, 32 teams entered. Only 2 are left standing, and we will have a new National Basketball Association champion soon. The NBA Finals are set. Eastern Conference champions, the Miami Heat. Western Conference champion, the Los Angeles Lakers. Doc, what are your thoughts about these playoffs?
LeBron is the greatest.
He's
the greatest to ever do it.
Obviously, and if you say anything otherwise, anyone who have any kind of argument against him or have any kind of critical comment against him is obviously a hater.
Or living in a fantasy world. He's the greatest. There's nothing else to do. I think it's time for us to stop kidding ourselves and just accept that LeBron, despite the Jordan era that we experienced so many years ago, I think it's time for us to put down our magic air juice and just accept the fact that there's a new vampire in LA and his name is LeBron James. I'm just saying, it's just his time. I think we should just stop it. We should just knock it off. He's big, he's strong, he's fast.
He get calls all the time.
He's developed a jumper. He's been dunking on people for God knows how many years.
17.
The only thing we can say that he did wrong was leave his hometown and run to Miami for a college break, I guess he called it, the decision. And I'm not even going to say he gets calls because, James Harden gets calls. That's getting calls.
We're not going to talk about James Harden.
Exactly. We're not. So, like I said, I'm tired of hating on him. Even though I don't think I have been, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and drink the LeBron Kool-Aid and say he's the great LeBron James that everybody claims to be. I was trying to go with the, Shaq kind of the great Shaqini or something, but LeBron is the great, man. I'm not going to say the greatest Laker. I know you said nobody better not dare say that. But he's one of the best basketball players at this point to ever lace him up.
Doc, we live in an era where we are complete victims of the moment. I'm not saying this about LeBron James, but let me get my point across. We are all victims of the moment, and we change our mind so frequently in the sports world. It's actually kind of sickening if you really think about it. When it comes to LeBron James, I have been on record saying that he's the greatest athlete. I still would like to say, as far as generational talent, he is the best of this current generation of players, hands down. I never denied that. But so for some reason, the amount of supporters for LeBron is mind-boggling in a sense. If you mention rings, people start talking about competition. When you mention number of accolades, they still mention competition, which is weird. A lot of players that we watched growing up, especially in the 90s, they can ball. They're not the, sharpshooters that we have now. We can definitely admit that, but that's called, boys and girls, change of the game. Like, the way the game is played in 2020 isn't the way it was played in 2010. It wasn't played the same way in 2000. It wasn't played the same way in 1990, 1980s, 1970s. And you get the point. So I, as much as I like to jokingly agree with Doc, I will still say that he is the greatest generational talent of this current generation. But I would say he would be top 5. I wouldn't say he's number 1. I feel like it would be disrespectful for those that came before him that helped lead that way. But unfortunately, as we like to say jokingly, this is the era of the casual fans, folks.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And we're all just living in it. So those who do have the basketball knowledge, and it kind of speaks more towards our society, unfortunately, people just want to argue, and people just want to yell to get their point across, or cast judgment or insult people instead of having logical conversations. Like think about like us going to like the barbershop, and people talk about sports in the barbershop. Yeah, they can get rowdy, but like, we can have concrete points come across and people can come to consensus about things. Now, no, everyone's just bullheaded. And they just don't understand that there are discrepancies in LeBron James's game. And this is the things that we're looking at. We're not saying that he's a scrub. We're just saying you need to put respect on other people's names that are ahead of him in this GOAT conversation. And I think for me personally, I think I'm finished talking about GOATs and buying, because I feel like we have overglorified it, that it doesn't mean what it means anymore.
I can agree with that part. So here's what I think. I think LeBron has surpassed, or honestly, I think LeBron has surpassed Michael in regards to skill.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's something that we all would have to point out. I think he's surpassed LeBron. He's surpassed Jordan
in skills.
I would say in skills. I would say that he might have surpassed Kobe in athletic and defensive skills. Kobe was a great defender, but I think LeBron tops him defensively because LeBron's just a great defender. I think Kobe was a good defender also, but I think in defensive terms, I think LeBron has kind of topped him.
Of course.
I still think that there are some, the Wilts, the Kareem that just had better offensive game. Olajuwon, several people that just have better offensive games, Shaq, but defensively, although those guys were great, I think LeBron being able to guard 1 through 5 kind of challenges them in a way that they couldn't have performed at that particular time.
Now, are we also accounting the way the game is being played, though?
Well, you have to think about it also, the game has evolved, and we would say that in both a positive and a negative way.
Exactly.
Where I think LeBron could have easily played against Olajuwon. He might have struggled against Hakeem, of course.
Yeah.
But he would have been able to at least match up with Olajuwon, Ewing, David Robinson. Physically, he would have been able to match up with those bigs. Obviously, if LeBron with the same skills is playing in the 90s, he probably would have had more injuries.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and that's unfortunately one of the things that a lot of people who would criticize LeBron James would point to. Like, it was a way physical league.
But I don't know if I think he would still be in this conversation of, hey, we got to stop that guy. Now, here's the other part that I think is why LeBron gets, I guess, the pass, and is why people talk about him so much. Over the last, we'll just say 2000s.
Okay.
All the first overall picks in the 2000s, with the exception of Yao Ming and maybe Dwight, I guess.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
No.
I mean, early Dwight was really good. He was good. Early Dwight. Dwight now, I don't know what happened to him, but
Dwight from like year 3 on.
That's what I'm saying. So even the first 3 years, those 3 first round picks after him weren't great. So you think about it.
Yeah, but that speaks more on bad GM work right there.
That's what I'm saying. So, but you got to think about it like this. These are number 1 overall picks.
Absolutely.
LeBron James was. This is LeBron's. He's in the 2000s, right?
Yep.
Everybody in the 2000s, with the exceptions of, I can't even say that. Everybody in the 2000s has some type of baggage, whether it be injury, whether it be, not being able to get playing time, being traded.
Yep.
LeBron is really the only person in the last 20 years to really say, hey, I've dominated this whole time. Like, every single person has struggled in a way that we just can't even
fathom.
You can't even like make an excuse for them, with the exception of maybe Greg Oden, but his body just failed him.
Yeah, which happened since he was in Ohio State.
Right. But everybody struggled, and LeBron, every year, he just kept getting better. So It's like we criticized him for leaving, but it's like at the end of the day, the league was changing. People were scared of the Celtics. We understand. I get it. And I'm not giving him a pass, but, you got to do what you got to do. You got to win the championship. That's the goal. And then he went back, played with Kyrie. They got themselves a championship.
Yep.
And he said, hey, I need to go make this money because I'm not going to be able to play forever. And he goes to the Lakers. Anthony Davis says, hey, I'm tired of losing. I'm going to pull a LeBron and I'm going to go to the Lakers. He could have went anywhere, but he went to the Lakers.
Yep.
I think the problem that I have with this whole thing, we can get off the GOAT talk.
Yeah. Let's get this whole thing out of the way so we can actually talk about the game.
I think that there's a lot of disrespect on Anthony Davis's name.
Please tell them, Doc. We talked about this off the podcast a lot. Please set the record straight.
I feel like when people talk about the Lakers winning, the first thing they do is say, well, LeBron, ... Although LeBron is scoring, he's assisting, he's rebounding, without Anthony Davis, I don't think they get past even the Rockets. And that's just my personal opinion. I know I'm a Rockets fan, so it sounds biased.
I can objectively say that I don't think the Lakers would have gotten past Houston.
They wouldn't have got past Houston without Anthony Davis because, Anthony Davis, he just was the catalyst. Think about it like this. Anthony Davis in game 3, 34 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. Granted, LeBron had a good game, but you need Anthony Davis there for LeBron to be successful. Exactly. And I think that's where the knock is. It's like, how can he be the greatest when he always needs a role player, quote unquote, or another star to actually win? And I guess that's where the GOAT conversation used to kind of get a little debatable.
Yes.
But obviously the Lakers beat the Rockets with Anthony Davis. The Lakers then went on to beat the Nuggets, who Anthony Davis hit a big shot. That's why I said it easily could have been going to game 6 instead of it being over. Anthony Davis doesn't it doesn't end, doesn't hit this big shot at the end of the game.
Yep.
Could have easily been 2-1 Nuggets rather than 2-1 Lakers. And then the Lakers will be battling back down 2-1, and we would have been going into game 6.
Yep.
But Anthony Davis hits the shot. So I think that's the only thing. I think the people that are around LeBron should get more credit, and I think I told this to some of my team members. Somebody said, "Oh, LeBron, without LeBron, this team, would stink." And I was like, it's not that they would be terrible.
Nope.
They may not score as many points because the people on the team are legit role players. I mean, they wouldn't score, as much of a magician as Rondo is. The teams wouldn't score without LeBron. With Anthony Davis there, as you saw last season, they have some potential, but without LeBron, there's no real threat.
Exactly.
They can just double team Anthony Davis and call it a day. But I don't know if I would say that the team is full of bunch of scrubs. I hate when people would say that. So that's the one thing I would say is that LeBron needs those guys as much as they need LeBron. And they have a tough task ahead of them against this Miami Heat team, which I'm hoping that people aren't just kind of looking past.
I think a lot of people are already starting to look past. I've seen predictions where they had Lakers in 5, Lakers in 4. People are already popping champagnes figuratively.
And I had the Celtics beating the Heat, so I don't know how I really thought the Heat did not have what it took to beat the Celtics team. That Celtics team is really, really good.
Really, really good.
That's a really, really good team.
Recapping their season real quickly, I think they're one piece away.
Hopefully
they need a
piece.
The right
piece.
Yes.
Not the right piece, because if they bring the wrong piece in, I hope they can tumble down.
Exactly. But I mean, Miami, we're talking scrappy, defensively heavy. I mean, and it's just a group of players who, they listen, and they have all the things that people say about their team on their little bulletin board, and Doc speak about this a lot in football. This is what Miami does. That's pretty much the way that they operated, and watching them play, it ain't fancy, but it gets it done. And it's so funny that JJ Redick mentioned on his podcast this week that this is eerily similar to the 2004 Pistons.
Yeah.
And how apropos that the finals is against the Lakers. So that's a thing.
Here's another thing. You about to have 3 guys that I have seen in the past really, really take it to LeBron. That's Jimmy Butler, Jay Crowder, and the GOAT, Andre Iguodala. And I think Iguodala, who's seen LeBron several times, is ready for the task. Jay Crowder, and then, of course, Jimmy Butler, with the surprising guard trio of Duncan Robinson, Goran Dragic, and Tyler Hero. I really think hopefully they have another big to bring in. I know they have Solomon Hill. I'm hoping that they have another forward to bring in to kind of match up and get some rebounds. But
well, they got Bam too.
Well, yeah, but all right, Bam is only one man. I mean, you got Dwight, you got freaking Anthony Davis, you got freaking JaVale McGee. So, I mean, I'm hoping that they have at least one more forward or center that they can just bring in from out of nowhere, RKO style, and really, really help him. But them guys are going to give LeBron a fit. So This is where the role players of the Lakers are really going to have to step up and make some shots, because they're going to be all over LeBron. And LeBron, that's why he was sitting on the floor while the confetti was falling, because he knows he's about to be in
a war.
For a war. Like, Eric Spoelstra, which is another thing I wanted to talk about.
Thank you.
Eric Spoelstra is going to bring. He's going to say, "I know LeBron, I know him," and he's going to be. I mean, this former video coordinator.
I love these storylines suddenly popping up about all these players on the Heat.
Well, they got to build up the story. I mean, I don't blame them for that. I mean,
no, I blame the media for that. The problem is, I'm not going to go into the media.
You don't like it.
I would like it if the energy was the same all around. Like as they're progressing.
The Lakers?
No. The opposite, but we won't get into that. But as you were saying about Eric Spoelstra, saying
they're doing it for the Heat though. That's why I don't get what you're saying
now. But once again, besides the point, we're not going to get into that. That's TMZ type level of stuff.
No. We need to get into this right now.
No, it's okay.
They're doing it for the Heat.
It's all right. I'm not going to say anything about it anymore. Let's continue on.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, did you see him rob you of his thoughts?
Well, obviously, they're going to have to pay for that. I'm joking, folks. I'm joking.
Wow, he moved on to Cincinnati on you guys. We're moving on to Cincinnati. Well, anyway, yeah, I think the Heat will give them trouble, but ultimately, I mean, he's the best player in the world. I don't know.
So is that a prediction, Doc?
I don't have any predictions.
Doc,
I feel like, I don't know.
I mean, the Lakers showed dominance. They only lost 3 games throughout this whole thing. Miami lost 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Lakers are the heavy favorites. Miami, of course, is the underdogs. They don't want to call themselves the underdogs. Don't call me an underdog.
Mm-hmm.
My prediction is, Doc, I don't care who wins.
I figured you wouldn't.
I don't care who wins. Because, Doc, what is it that I keep saying? What is it that I keep saying about these playoffs?
Asterisk?
It's going to be an asterisk for any other team that's not the Lakers if they win.
It don't have to be like that.
It doesn't have to, but it will be. It will be.
Here's where I think the Heat have a little bit of an advantage. And I know people are going to, laugh at me and mock me in the streets.
Talk to the people.
I know you moved on to Cincinnati, but people are going to mock me for speaking out loud and giving my full opinion. But I think the Heat beating the Bucs the way they did was the gaslighting that they needed to make this run to the championship.
I can agree with that.
I know that Giannis is not to the offensive caliber that LeBron is, but I think the Heat will probably treat him like LeBron and try and isolate him, neutralize him, really.
Did you just say neutralize?
I did. They're going to try to neutralize LeBron, similar to how they did the Greek Freak. Even though he really still dominated them, he didn't, I guess, make the necessary moves to win the game.
He didn't make the proper adjustments.
Yeah, so I think that's what they're hoping for. And honestly, it's probably going to come down to, Spoelstra out coaching Vogel, I guess. This is Vogel's this is first time here, isn't it?
Yeah, as a coach, yes. As a head coach, yes.
Yeah. So I mean, we were all kind of surprised that they even chose Vogel in the beginning, So,
once again, that's why it's hard for me to care because I know what's going to happen based off of which team's going to win. It's sad because it's my favorite sport, but they ruined the fun for us.
Ooh. Who ruins the fun?
The media.
I don't know. I think you give them way too much power.
No, I think I need to
Too
get them
much.
way. Well, here's the problem. We have a generation of sports listeners or watchers
Casual fans too. Casual
who
fans.
take what these personalities as gospel and regurgitate it versus someone like Doc, 5-star Coyote Meltzer over here, who watched the game, who does the analysis on it, and could come up with conclusive and analytical reasoning behind his statements.
But I also said I was going to become a casual fan.
Exactly. Because it got to that point to where it's just better just to be a casual fan.
Well, that's because of certain teams, general managers not doing what I need them to do. But also, it's just like I said, sports just doesn't have it's not had nothing to do with the media for me. Sports just doesn't have the excitement, that it once had. Not because of so much of COVID, but
this happened way before COVID, folks. Way before.
Yeah. And we can blame the referees. We can blame a whole bunch of things.
It's a lot.
Ultimately, it probably would be more beneficial for the NBA if this was a quote-unquote fixed game to have the Heat win, give them the asterisk, and then let the Lakers run it back next year, I guess, where you have a full season, blah, 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 whole new bubble, blah, blah, blah.
I mean, Doc, you got to be careful about, talking about booking decisions because, there's another company that's stealing the ideas from a small federation.
Well, I don't have anything to do with that, so I don't even want to bring that up because I have nothing to do with that. But I don't want the Lakers to get this quote unquote asterisk, even though most casual fans aren't.
They're not gonna. No, they're not gonna.
I don't think casual fans are gonna give anybody anything. I think they're just happy to have basketball, and if the Heat win, they win, which is a pretty good team, man. I mean,
I feel like people not giving them as. I really enjoyed watching this Heat Celtics series, honestly. Like, and you hear me, like, I really enjoyed watching this series.
No, it was a good series.
No, just like how I really enjoyed watching the Nuggets Jazz series as well. Like, I really enjoyed those two. Of probably my two favorite series of this playoffs.
I mean, the Lakers and Nuggets were pretty good. I mean, it was a pretty good series. It just didn't turn out. The Nuggets just went cold in the fourth quarter. And
well, and that's the other problem too. And we'll move on to the next subject. But like that's pretty much been the theme of these playoffs is a team just gets cold, and that's it.
And that's why I've been saying that I didn't think that the Lakers had any convincing wins to me. Like it was never convincing. That's why I like a team like the Heat, who has won convincingly over several teams. I haven't seen them really go cold. Even in their losses to the Celtics, I didn't see them like really go cold.
Or even the loss to the Bucs.
Yeah, it just didn't. It just didn't go their way. But I think they're gonna come and bring it to the Lakers, and the Lakers better not sleep on the Heat, or they're gonna wake up with sunburn.
I saw what you did there. With that, folks, we're gonna be right back with more debate amongst friends right after this. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Doc, Helen called me into the office and she told me that I won't be here for much longer. We're just going to move on. Doc, I'm joking. I'm actually talking about the Los Angeles Clippers who parted ways with head coach Doc Rivers after 7 seasons, Doc. Was it breaking news? Yes. But did Doc and Prof say it on this show before it happened? You dang right we did.
Yeah, and you know what it is? It's hard to I guess, even make up an excuse.
There's no
You know,
excuses.
you sign, a great player in Kawhi Leonard, and then you make the franchise shifting trade to get Paul George, which kind of flops. And I mean, personally, I didn't feel like they needed to do that. I think had they not done that, they probably wouldn't have lost, that series. I think if they had, Gallinari and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and,
Yep.
Those players that they actually traded away, I think with Paul George, it probably would have played better. And this is obviously hindsight 2020.
Of course.
But Doc Rivers, having multiple rosters, having having Chris Paul all those years previously, having Blake Griffin, you had, DeAndre Jordan, you had all these guys, now you got, all these players, and they have some really, really good players on there.
Very good players. A lot of them can actually start for other teams.
Yeah, I think this is the year where it's like, okay, it's been 7 years. You've taken us but so far. I think it's time to say and bid adieu.
I mean, it's essentially the same situation as what happened with Houston. Like, it was a length of time for things. I'm thinking as far as not getting to that next level.
I don't know. I don't want to go there.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Just we won't go there.
Let's go with anybody else. Let's not go there. Yeah, it's not because I don't think Mike D'Antoni had a fair shot.
Yeah, we won't go there.
Let's go with let's see.
Potential destinations for him then?
Oh, I mean, I'm sure the Bulls are kicking themselves for hiring a coach so soon. I'm sure the Knicks are mad. Like, 'cause, these are teams that probably would have loved to have Doc Rivers as a coach. Obviously, you have to say that Houston, Oklahoma City, I don't think they hired somebody. You still got the Pelicans. Who knows? I mean,
the Pacers too.
Yeah, the Pacers. I mean, who knows? You think about it. Brooklyn hired Steve Nash. Imagine Brooklyn would have been like, oh my God, let's get Doc Rivers in here with these stars. Like, oh, it would have been perfect. Who knows? Maybe the Celtics said, hey, Brad Stevens, we tried the young guy.
I don't think they're going to do that.
We need to bring the old guy back in. He's smarter. He might be slower, but hey, he's a full-time basketball coach, baby.
I don't think Boston's going to happen.
Nah, I don't think that's going to happen.
Boston's not going to happen. That's disrespectful to Brad Stevens, who has been doing an incredible job in his tenure.
Hey, but it's been years, and he's taken him to the same exact spot that Doc has. The same exact spot.
What?
He hasn't made it to no finals.
He made it to the conference finals.
Doc's made it to the conference finals, didn't he?
With these Clippers? No.
He's never made it to the conference finals ever?
Not with the Clippers. We're talking about the Clippers. No.
Well, think about it like this. You had the Super Soaker Warriors. You had the run and gun Rockets.
Helen peeked out of her door right there. She just had to make sure that everything was fine.
So, obviously he struggled, but I don't know why I feel like the Clippers made it at least one time to the conference finals.
No.
But I could be, but hey, listen. I still think that it was time for them to move on.
Yes.
But Brad Stevens, eventually they're going to have to get him.
Eventually they're going to make a move on him, but it's not like now. I think it'd be way too soon to do that. So
I would say that if you're Houston, you have to at least take a look.
Yeah. Like Houston, I can see. New Orleans, I can see. OKC is going to be interesting because they want to re-sign Chris Paul, and depending on what articles you read, that may or may not be beneficial initially because of the way that Chris Paul left LA. So that one's going to be a question mark. We got to see what Chris Paul wants to do and whether or not either they decide to reconcile or Chris Paul's like, yeah, I'm not going to do this. I'm probably going to go somewhere else. What was the other teams that you said?
He can go to Houston. You got, you still have Indiana, I believe you said.
Yeah, Indiana as well, which I think could be a really good move. But Victor Oladipo looking to leave, but getting Doc will reopen that conversation to see if Oladipo want to stay.
And then you have him going to coach Zion.
I feel like that might be the most. I think that might actually be it out of all of them. Like, I would love to see him in Houston. I think that they can actually make better noise than with D'Antoni, which once again, not a knock against D'Antoni. I think he did an incredible job with them and helped lead a new way we play basketball today in the NBA. But getting the opportunity to play with a generational talent like Zion Williamson, yeah, if I'm Doc Rivers, yeah, I probably want to coach there.
The last team, I guess, is the 76ers.
I don't know what the heck 76ers wants to do.
Well, it sounds like they want Mike D'Antoni, not because of the whole James Harden thing, but just I think they just want to play faster, I assume.
I think they want Mike D'Antoni for James Harden.
I don't think so. I thought that was media baiting at its finest.
I think they feel like James Harden was only relevant, and this is just speculating. This isn't me saying this. This is not John Gotti saying this.
We believe you.
But I believe they're saying that James Harden was only relevant because of Mike D'Antoni's system, which is completely untrue.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't believe that. I think that James is fine with McHale.
Yep.
You know, he's fine. Again, with the
I
number of coaches that
I personally thought his best time was with McHale.
We had a great time with McHale. I thought the only problem was that James came in out of shape.
Yep.
And he just wasn't ready to work, you know. But I don't know. But I think he definitely has, and by he, I mean Doc Rivers, he definitely has his work cut out on him. He got to look at all the rosters. Personally, from the outside looking in, I wouldn't choose the Rockets because they got no money.
Nope.
They got a small ball roster.
Yep.
You know, and what are you supposed to do with that? I think with the Pelicans, at least you know you have a young roster. You have some pretty good pieces there.
You got some really good pieces there.
Yeah, for me, it would either be the Pelicans or I would go back east and just take over Indiana, even with Oladipo threatening to leave because they still have a pretty good team with or without Oladipo because he hasn't been there anyway. So
I think if we was to rank it based off those four teams, number one is New Orleans for me. Number two is Philadelphia. Number three would be Houston as the dark horse. And then number four would be I'll probably say OKC. Like, I really feel like if he can get Chris Paul in the room and talk, I think they can work something out. But if Victor Oladipo is adamant about leaving, he's going to have to restart everything from scratch again. I mean, Miles Turner is still, you know, really, really good. Like, I know a lot of people don't talk, like, he's really, really good, but not someone that you're going to run your franchise through.
No, I think if I had to choose, I probably would put, honestly, I probably would put Indiana first and have, you know, because I would want to make a run in the East if I'm going to do anything. And obviously, they not only have Miles Turner, but Malcolm Brogdon, Sabonis. You got T.J. Warren, who had a nice little, you know, I don't want to say coming out party, but he had a nice little run, I guess. Oh, you don't like that one?
Alan, put the glass jar back in the office, please.
Second, I would say would be probably the Pelicans. I think if they can I don't know if they would even want to convince Brandon Ingram to come back, but
I think he'll come back if it's Doc coaching.
well, he has. I mean, they have to sign him. He probably gonna want a lot of money. He's a weirdo, I think personally, but
I think he'll actually try to come back for a discount. He's like, I mean, if Golden State could do it, I could do it too.
no, I don't think so.
Just because he's so weird in the head.
Yeah, it would be the Pacers, the Pelicans. Then I probably would say OKC with or without Chris Paul. I don't think it would matter. And then would be the 76ers and then the Rockets. The Rockets would definitely be last on my list. Obviously, he would get a chance to play with coach's son. Obviously, that would be pretty cool. But with so much money tied to James Harden and Russell Westbrook and not having any other bigs, yes, they have some older bigs on the roster, but I don't know.
Well, and remember what I said, though, because you talked about how this could be the end of Daryl Morey, and I said about 2 years. So if he was to go to Houston, and he, of course, meaning Doc Rivers, that will start that clock.
I don't know. I personally think Daryl Morey's time should have ended already. I mean, he's been the GM for about 13 years now. And
was it really that long?
No, it wasn't. It was 8 years.
We're gonna have to consult with Chris on that one.
I feel like he started in 2007. Oh God, I hate him so much sometimes. Because I mean, remember all those years? He's actually 13 years. It's been 13 years, and granted, we've made the heck out of the playoffs.
Yep.
Like, we've made the heck out of the playoffs. But it's like, how many coaches is this guy going to go through before he gets the axe? You know what I mean? Like, I get it. Moneyball. I understand completely. But we're not doing Moneyball right now.
We're not.
It's like, this isn't Moneyball. This is, hey, we got James Harden. It was Moneyball. Like, we put all our money into James Harden, and then we got a whole bunch of role players. It was cool, but then you added that second star in Chris Paul initially. In Dwight Howard. Then you get Chris Paul. Then you get Russell Westbrook. Now it's like a whole different ball game. Then now you got two people making $40-something million. You got a couple of people who I think, although they still can play basketball, they're kind of beyond their, I want to say, prime. I just think it's a tough spot. Doc, don't do it.
You see, folks, I was able to get Doc to talk about the Rockets.
It's like, oh my God. It's like, don't do it. But I want him to do it so bad. It's like, I really want him to coach, but it's like.
That's why I say he's number 3 on my list.
Oh my God. But we'll see what happens.
Folks, we're going to be right back. More Debate Amongst Friends right after this.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Football, week 3, NFL, which should be
coming at you live.
Wow. I can't believe you did that.
Because it sounded like he was doing that.
Know.
Okay, I was just making sure.
Coming at you live. No, I got it. Now, week 3, NFL should be preseason.
This is pretty much the end of preseason.
This is the year that they're gonna probably go back and say, you know, that time we said we weren't gonna have preseason games.
Yeah, we're gonna need to have preseason.
We should probably rethink that. At least go 3 games. So many injuries, 26, 25, and 22 players on certain teams lead the league in injuries. I think it was the Broncos, 49ers, and Jets.
Yep.
Really, really getting hammered by injuries. But let's talk about the number 1 overall pick, Joey Burrows. The Bengals versus the Eagles. Carson Wentz still on the field, not hurt just yet. But he is being
very callous.
Hey, listen, come on now. That guy, they call him Mr. Glass.
Wow. 29 for 47, 225, a TD and 2 picks, which is
Yes.
pretty bad.
People are saying that, well, Joe Burrow, 31 for 44, 312 yards, 2 touchdowns. I set him on my bench, of course.
I don't know why.
Because I had Kyler Murray versus the Lions, which, like I said, both of them had a good matchup.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt okay with it. This game ended in a tie, first tie of the year, and a lot of people are screaming, "Oh my God, we need to bench him. Where is Nick Foles? Oh wait, he's in Chicago."
And he's also starting now.
Which we'll get to in just a second. But what the heck is going on with the Eagles? They're 0-2-1 now. Obviously, Carson Wentz, I don't know if I can say that's not working, but eventually they're going to be calling for Jalen Hurts to get the start.
I think that will probably happen if he continues to have this type of production. I
actually forgot that Deshaun Jackson was even on this team.
Yeah, but he was hurt last year. That's why.
Yeah.
No, and yet think about it like this too. A lot of their receivers came back from injury from last year. They didn't get a chance to really find any gel as well too. And we given Carson Wentz a few seasons of passes. So I think now is when we really need to look critical beyond just people in Philadelphia. To start saying, is this the person that they want going forward? Now, I feel like it might be too soon to try to flip the switch over to Jalen Hurts. But if Carson Wentz have like a 3-pick game, and like Doc likes to mention from last year, if they're all his fault, I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
But if it's
going based on the numbers,
yeah,
it could have been tipped past easily.
Exactly. So we have to look at it based off of that. We can't just look at it, oh, well, he has 2 picks, it's time to switch to Jalen Hurts. Okay, well, how many of them were tip drills? How many of them was, the receiver running the wrong route? Like it could be the most minute things that can happen, but people are just looking at it's too soon to flip the switch. Plus, I already said at the beginning of the season, the NFC East is trash. TAS. Wait.
No, I get it. I think that's true. You make a valid point, and I'm going to give you that one. I do think that 0-2-1 is a little unacceptable.
Yes.
I think we have gave Carson Wentz a few passes. There's only so many more passes that he can get. I'm happy that. Wow. I am happy that Miles Sanders at least is doing well for my fantasy team. But I'm interested to see how this goes on. I know Philly is a tough place, one in which you can't do bad for a very long time.
Yes.
And eventually they're going to have to make a move. Now, with the Bengals, I'm still waiting for newly extended Joe Mixon to show up.
Not going to happen.
I would have expected with Joe Burrows actually passing a little bit better now, even though he had to throw 44 times. I expect Joe Mixon to actually have better gains than this 49 yards. I'm sure a lot of fantasy owners are probably like, what the heck, Joe?
Wait, first of all, why did you pick Joe Mixon on your fantasy?
Well, last year he played pretty well, and he's the lone back. Like right now, he's the lone back. I mean, nobody else had a carry. It was just him.
Yeah.
That's pretty sad.
Yeah, it's also
sad that they only ran the ball 17 times. Also, that's not good at all. And it looks like they're still trying to squeeze AJ Green in here, but he's just not clicking either. It might be time to cut that bait as well.
Yeah, I think that's more on just creating that dynamic. And it goes back to what I was saying with the Eagles, like just creating that dynamic. Plus, AJ Green was hurt too. So, like, it's too soon. It's still technically preseason, although it's technically not. Like,
let's keep that same energy here. Let's go with that. Let's go with that narrative here. Does that mean
Uh
And I want to know
oh. Uh
if it's just preseason and we're here, and I mean, I'm just trying to find out here, and you just let me know if
oh. I'm
maybe
gonna
I'm
let you
reaching
know.
on this.
I'm gonna let you
You
know.
know, if it's just preseason,
Mm-hmm.
are we giving Dan Quinn a pass right now? Because his Falcons have struggled so bad.
Percentage wise, he gets 90% of the blame.
Yikes.
Because the problem is, this is not the way that they've been losing, but the pattern's been there since last season.
No, that's true.
So
honestly, I think it's been there since they lost that Super Bowl.
Thank you. I was going to say that.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that. It's been there since they lost that Super Bowl. So they've been in a Super Bowl hangover since that loss.
Yeah, and it's been kind of rough. Like, it's almost time to end the Matt Ryan show also.
See, that's the problem, though, because Matt Ryan still gets numbers. This isn't like another team where they're just always coming back and this person's getting great stats, but like he's getting numbers still.
He's not really getting a lot of numbers. I mean, it's
No.
okay. 19 for 38, 238, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. I mean, the previous game, you know, obviously he played better.
Yes.
But I don't think he's doing like great. He's kind of looking like Matt Schaub out here right now.
Speaking of a Matt Schaub,
Wow.
the Bears decided to make the switch midway in the game. They said, "Give me Vaughn." They said, "Rick Vaughn, no, Nick Foles."
Who put on magic?
Who put on magic. So much magic that they said, "We like the young guy, but the old guy, well, he's consistent, he's accurate, and hey, he can help us win a game."
And he got Jimmy Graham involved, which even Aaron Rodgers couldn't do.
Yeah, I think that was still more about the playbook, though, than Aaron Rodgers there.
But, I mean, Nick Foles obviously came in. He did what he's supposed to do.
Yep.
16 for 29, which even throwing 29 passes after Trubisky threw 22 passes is a lot.
Yep.
188, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. The run game seems to be lacking there. I don't know what's going on. I haven't watched any Bears game, but obviously Allen Robinson is still showing up. And as I mentioned, the aforementioned Jimmy Graham, 6 catches for 60 yards.
Yes. Well, and that's more like a lot of those stats with the receiving yards is more when Nick Foles was playing. Like he's bombing it out there.
Yeah.
You know, it's just something that I think it has been lacking for the Cowboys, the Bears offense. I was about to say Chicago. No, I saw it C and whatever. Which is a vertical threat. And the problem with Trubisky was he wasn't accurate throwing it 20 plus yards down the field. But Doc, I said this before the season started, though. I said this wasn't a matter of if, but a matter of when they were going to make this switch.
Well, it kind of hurts them because of. I think it only hurts because of how Trubisky was drafted.
Yes.
Had they not moved,
is that GM fired for the Bears? Do we know?
I don't think so. I think the problem is you move up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Over Mahomes, over even Deshaun Watson. Heck, over let's go down here. You could have took a lot of these quarterbacks that weren't even. Let's go down a little further. No, I don't want to go that further. I'm just looking. Actually, even CJ Beathard plays better. And he was drafted in the 3rd round. They could have drafted CJ Beathard in the 3rd round and still would have got better production than freaking Joshua Dobbs. And I think Dobbs played horrible for Pittsburgh. And he would have gave them better production than Trubisky. And that's the problem, is that he traded up to get Trubisky over Mahomes and over Watson. It was one of the biggest mistakes ever. Think about it like this. You could have had Solomon Thomas, Leonard Fournette, Jamal Adams, Christian McCaffrey. You took Mitchell Trubisky over the human fantasy football machine, Christian McCaffrey. That's why you look foolish.
Egg in the face.
Big egg in the face. But I don't want to dwell on that. The Bears are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook each time. But this time we're not. Trubisky is going down, and now we have to move on to them boys.
Yep.
Who played the Seahawks this week? Cowboys versus Seahawks. Really a game of the week. A really big game, or I would say one of the games of the week. I think the Seahawks and Cowboys, I feel like they pencil this game in every year for them to play. I feel like they just say, no, Cowboys and Seahawks are going to play every single year. I don't care how we have to do this, but they're going to play every year. It's always a great game. I personally feel like, I'm going to start with the Cowboys, that Dak is playing out of his mind.
Okay.
Ever since this franchise tag, I felt like Dak said, you know what? I want the bag. I want the money. I'm going to show you why you should pay me. I haven't seen anyone ever throw 57 passes. I'm going to just put that out there. I don't remember ever seeing 50 plus passes, like close to 60-something passes like this. Personally, maybe it has happened, but 57 passes is a lot of passes.
That's fair.
And I need Ezekiel to really step it up. Like, what in the world is going on with these running backs these days?
I mean, he's obviously just too busy admiring his "Feed Me" tattoo on his stomach.
Wow. 14 carries is not enough, though. I will say that. It's not enough. It's not. Like, come on. Come on, Ezekiel. But let's go over to the Seahawks. Obviously, Russell Wilson, MVP candidate early. 5 touchdowns on this game.
Yep.
I think Russell always plays well. Same 14 carries for Chris Carson, who actually outgained Ezekiel.
Who's also out with injury as well, too. We hope he recovers.
Which is pretty sad. Obviously, we had a DK Metcalf fumble at the goal line.
It wasn't. He basically pulled a Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, that was kind of rough. Young player mistake. He won't be doing that again.
No.
He's going to be mad and diving into the end zone from now on.
But he still walked out of it with 110. You know, Tyler Lockett was killing them.
Yeah, he did kill him, actually. He actually won me 50 cents in DraftKings. Make sure you gamble responsibly.
Thank you for putting that in there.
I knew Tyler Lockett was going to destroy him. I put him in there, and I won 50 cents. But make sure you gamble responsibly.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, obviously this was a defensive game to an extent.
Oh, I was like...
I mean, holding both running backs under 70 yards is defensive to me. I always go more towards the run defense than the pass defense because that's what I'm used to. I think when you force a quarterback to have to pass, I think the defense is pretty much doing that job. However, obviously, Russell was just better than Dak.
Well, and it speaks more about the Cowboys' secondary as well, which has been their Achilles heel for like the past 4 seasons, I believe.
Yeah,
it's been pretty suspect for about 4 seasons. Like they were getting torched.
I heard from some Cowboy fans that it wasn't pretty.
Yeah, but I got nothing. I mean, the Cowboys are who we thought they were, and they're going to continue to be that way. So it is what it is, folks.
You're absolutely right.
But the Seahawks, I mean, this is their division to win.
True. True.
This is their
Especially
division
with
to
the
win.
injuries, yeah.
Exactly.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that was your week of them boys. Let's move on to another game here. My Tampa Bay Bucs traveled to Denver to the Mile High to get a little altitude, I guess, a little altitude adjustment.
Talk about an attitude adjustment with Tom Brady dropping 3 TDs on him. It was like he never left.
Right. I mean, so here's the thing. I expected, some issues, right? So I've been keeping quiet. I've been just
you have. You have, because I was going to ask you a question about this, but I'm going to let you. You're probably going to answer it anyway, so please.
I've been keeping quiet. I haven't really said anything because, I'm waiting, for the team to gel, and I said this first game. Hey, we're getting a little Carson Wentz out of our system. Game 2 was like, okay, we played great. One drive, week 1. Now let's put a half together, which they did last week. Mm-hmm. And then this week, we took it to 3 quarters. And we played a great 3 quarters, I'll say, of football. Now, I assume next week and beyond, we'll start playing 4 quarters of football. Now, the one thing that I've noticed that I know that we're still, like, literally practicing plays in the game, you can tell because we're freaking passing on 3rd and 1. And I'm like, what the heck are we doing? Like, we have Leonard Fournette, who I can't see him being stopped multiple times on 3rd and 1. Like, let's get him the ball and let's stop playing. But we didn't do that. We only actually ran the ball only but a few times. Really only 20
25.
times.
25.
I'm not counting those 5 by Brady. We're not counting those. Come on.
I mean, the statistician, they count them.
No, I think those are. I don't know.
Then 20 tops then. It's 20 tops then.
Yeah, I can't believe they put that on there. But I think the team weapons aren't as like right now. It doesn't show as explosive. I think as people expected it to be. But they're still gelling.
Yes.
So I'm curious to see what happens. The defense really played very well as a whole. There were some things that I would like to see better.
Okay.
But as a whole, they played pretty well. But shout out to the Broncos. I felt that they tried. And this is what I'm talking about as far as shutting down a run game. Was that our friend?
It was.
Oh, wow. He's so consistent. There he goes. He's going home to watch Doc and Prof. But shutting down a run game, that's what we do. Obviously, holding Melvin Gordon to 26 yards. Driscoll, those 3 carries count, 14 yards because he definitely ran. And then the other running backs tried but failed miserably. But not giving up the big play, I think, was huge. Mm-hmm. We got about 5 or 6 sacks. I thought that was pretty good. We only gave up 2 sacks. And I know we were, people were questioning the offensive line for the Bucs in the offseason, but it just showed that they are okay. Brady's getting the ball out, and we're actually moving the football. Mm-hmm. I say give it another week or 2, and we should really be clicking, and this should be, like, really, really fun. I mean, think about it like this. Mike Evans had 2 receptions for 2 yards for 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
Like, just think about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. So I really believe that if not this week, as I do see that Gronkowski starting to get some catches.
Yep.
Next week might be the perfect week to add him back to your fantasy team.
Mike Evans or Rob Gronkowski?
Gronkowski.
I could see that.
I mean, Mike Evans still got the 2 touchdowns, even though it was, 2 catches. I mean, those 2 touchdowns, that's at least 16 points at least, which is, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine.
But Gronk getting those catches and actually getting looks, especially with if Chris Godwin's hamstring, if he's out again,
Yeah.
I think Gronk is about to be back. And let me go see if he's on there right now.
I mean, I think this was a great preseason finale for the Bucs. It showed a lot of the things that you was mentioning from the first week, which was for them to develop that gel, that bond between quarterback to receiver. Scotty Miller, I mean, he's quickly becoming one of my favorite Buccaneers for this season so far. Whenever I see him go down the field, I'm like, oh, this is going to be good.
I can understand that. I think that I personally feel like Scotty, because he was there last year. I mean,
yep.
I just think that he didn't really get the time to shine. I mean, that third and fourth receiver, you think about it, Mike Evans, you had Chris Godwin, then you had Brashad Perriman, then it was Scotty Miller. So
actually, it was O.J. Howard, then it was Scotty Miller.
And then I felt OJ didn't really fit in last year. That's why it was kind of weird with Jameis. I think that it's one of those things where, I don't want to put all the blame on Jameis, because I know there's some big Jameis fans out there and they're still holding on to.
I don't know, man. I mean, I think he just needs to get his own house in order before he starts arguing about Jameis. That's all I gotta say there.
I agree. I don't know what the heck is going on, but I just know that some people just believe that Jameis
can do no harm, apparently. But let's get to our last game. Monday Night Football.
Chiefs Ravens, which I also think is another game, obviously, that's going to be on the radar, on the schedule every year. We'll probably see it every single year. That's Chiefs versus Ravens.
Oh, absolutely. This is Manning Brady.
Yeah, this is it right here.
I think I said that a year ago, actually.
I could see that. But it's more exciting, a little more exciting, though, honestly.
Yeah, this one was a lot more exciting. I felt like Patrick Mahomes decided he wanted to shine. I mean, it's not like he decided. He just decided to just do it anyway. He wanted to shine. Of course, stories after the game was the Ravens defense was afraid of Patrick Mahomes. It's like, stop it. That's stupid. But Patrick Mahomes threw for 42, completed 31 for 385 and 4 TDs, no picks. I mean, fantasy-wise, if you needed Patrick Mahomes to help you win your fantasy for the week, there you go. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a pretty good sighting, 64 yards, 20 carries. I mean, this is the type of game that we would expect from the Chiefs. Like, this is them, getting whatever little kinks out of their system, and they're ready to rock and roll. And the Chiefs defense was impeccable. They was able to bracket down Lamar Jackson in the air. He only completed 15 passes for only 97 yards. I mean, if you can do that with the type of weapons that they have, it looked like Mark Andrews was actually a little hobbling, so we might need to pay attention to that. I didn't see anything for the injury report after the game. But he has a lot of weapons, and he wasn't able to really utilize it. So, big kudos to the Chiefs defense right there.
No, definitely. I agree. I just think that they had Lamar's ticket.
Yeah. I mean, this is exactly what we kind of seen with Brady Manning. Like, this is kind of what, the defense will have to show up to be able to neutralize, as we like to say, the opposing quarterback. And we saw that on Monday night.
Yeah, they just had a ticket. And it's just one of those things where you have to show appreciation for football. I mean, it was what it was.
It was what it was.
What it was.
Exactly.
But that's football this week. We'll have to see. Hopefully week 4 is just as exciting. And hopefully the Bucs can keep rolling. That's all I can really say about that. Yeah, boy.
Absolutely. And we'll be right back with the 2-minute drill right after this.
Every week, we like to do what's called the 2-minute drill, where we go over stories and headlines that we didn't get a chance to cover during the show. This week, we had the unfortunate passing of former Chicago Bears running back Gale Sayers, who passed away last week after our show. We definitely wish him and his family our condolences. Prof?
October baseball is back. Doc, I'm looking for Senior October because Major League Baseball postseason begins. Back to you, Doc.
Yikes. October. 2 days away. Apparently, news broke out that Delonte West, former NBA player, was out in the streets, unfortunately suffering from hard times. Rumor has it, the story goes, that Mark Cuban actually picked West up at a gas station and took him to rehab.
In Florida.
Where?
It was in Florida.
Yes.
Yeah, it was in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations to the Tampa Bay Lightning for winning the National Hockey League Stanley Cup in 6 games. They shut out the Dallas Stars 2-0 in the deciding game.
And the last two here that I have, Jermaine Kearse, former wide receiver of the Seahawks, has retired after 8 seasons. And also wanted to give a quick congratulations to Phillip Rivers for throwing his 400th touchdown and eclipsing the 60,000 passing yard for career. And that is all we have for today's show. Be sure to tune in next week for more analysis, more reads, and the debate.
Yay! Thank you for listening to Debate Amongst Friends. Give us a follow on our social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
You can also listen to all of our Debate Amongst Friends podcasts here on Anchor, as well as Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and iTunes.
And like we always say, goodbye, mwah, and to all, a good night. LASG.